Hey, for anyone else doing the Genesis analysis, looking for the template, the pattern through there, I've hit on some things to look at that I'm going to share in this video. My name's Dan. I'm just going to move on with it. I'm going to be a little more casual with this video. There's no new people jumping on board. People already know what's going on. So there's something happening in Genesis that is going to be something that every time it repeats, you'll see it. You'll go, what? That thing is happening over and over again. It's a very obvious line or a little teaching right there. It is, and it has to do with every time your offspring that are going to be like the stars in the sky or the sand on the beach or something like that. That is a very specific point where the template is starting from scratch or starting from a new, fresh point. What I want to do is describe what that is first, though. And what I'm going to do is go to the Tao Te Ching, a couple of different translations, and show right here what exactly that is without the religious connotation to the carrier case, without the idea that it's something that is real. This is they're all metaphorical terms. So let's go. We still have to understand them and process them when we go to the Chinese material, but it won't be. It'll sound a lot different. We can approach it very comfortably there. Okay, what I've got up here is the Stephen Mitchell translation of the Tao Te Ching. And there's a point down here where naming is the origin of all particular things. What that means right there is, hang on a second. First of all, let me back up. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Okay, it can't be told. You must do it yourself. Mental. The Tao that is the trip that is mentally taken within the individual is the real one. Okay, we can talk about it all day long, but it's not eternal until you take the path. It's real. It's not eternal. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. We start out life in that mental state in a void. Right there. That's naked, unashamed in the garden. The unnameable is the eternally real. So yeah, right in there. That's where we're really pure state. Naming is the origin of all particular things. There, we're starting to have life experiences. This is analogous. Naming means that I am now aware and I am beginning to learn. And as I learn, I have memories and I have emotions and with those memories. And this is the origin of all of those. You know, that would actually be the same place in Genesis where first sin happens, where the serpent tempts Eve and Eve consumes of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That long, complex, wrapped up story right there is the same thing. We are now naming, and we're going to begin having life experiences as a result of that. Eve's going to have pain in childbirth as a result, and Adam is going to suffer with her and eat from the land. We're going to go live a life unaware of this higher awareness that we should be living through. We're going to go live through whatever our experience is first before we find a way to turn inward. Now, it sounds a bit hard to get a hold of, but if I look through other translations, what I've got here is the Ralph Allen Dale translation that says, naming fragments the mysteries of life into 10,000 things in their manifestations. So it's not just saying of all particular things, it's saying 10,000 things and their manifestations. That's the cyclical pain right there, and their manifestations. That's you will have pain in childbirth every time you give childbirth. Yeah, every time, whatever you have, this experience that is not processed in a positive manner is stored in there. Every time it acts out, it's going to be painful, and it's going to get bigger, and we're going to get more and more. We're going to fill up. These are the choices we make and the results of those choices. The Gia Fu Feng translation, the named is the mother of 10,000 things. So it's not, suddenly we're getting into that, sand on the beach and stars in the sky category. Many, many things. The Man Ho Kwok translation, I don't recommend that one. I think it's poorly done. While heaven, the mother, is the creatrix of all things. Heaven is a poor choice of words. That's baggage ridden right there. That's going to prevent people from knowing that it's them. The mother, life experiences, our decisions are. So yeah, the Man Ho Kwok, I don't like that one at all. I don't think you could get there. You have to look through all of them and see that, I see they all work a certain way. Then you get here and go, wait a minute, this one doesn't work the same way. So it's not well, or it's not good. In a creation style, it's taught this way. Eve is the mother of all. Babylonian material, Tiamat, the one who gave birth to all. Yeah, okay, so does everybody understand? Let me stop here and think about this or talk about this for a second. So as we start out in life, we're pretty empty-headed. We don't have life experiences. We don't have memories. We don't have knowledge. As we grow through life, we become incredibly complex. And all of those things are That's it right there. That's what they are. So as we get into Genesis, what do we run into here? Let me go find that one. Okay, I've got the Genesis up here, and the first thing I'm going to do is pull up stars here. He made the stars also. Stars is repeated 5 times. It's a good thing. Look at it until the stars have... Okay, so here we have it in verse 15, chapter 15, verse 5. It's a positive thing. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if you are able to number them. So shall your seed be. So you're going to have a lot of offspring. He's telling this to Abram. When we get down here to chapter 22, and it's Abraham now, down in 17, see, notice that's at 17 there, that in blessing I will bless you, and multiplying I will multiply your seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. Your seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. All of these are memories. All of these. This is just held in a completely different style. And this is a temple. This is where it's sequencing different on the template. And there was a famine in the land who was Abraham. And I will make your seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto you the seed all those countries, and your seed shall be the nations of the earth shall be blessed. The earth is your life experience. It's different than my earth, which is my life experience. And everything that we carry is what's blessed in us. Do we like it? Some yes, some no. Some yes, some no. This one is different. The stars here is the sun and the moon and 11 stars made obeisance to me. So that one's not about the accumulation of offspring. Sand. So that one is stars and sand, and it's the same one right there. Then we get down to 32 down here into verse 12. Again, our numbers, look at they keep lining up. These are things you can't unsee once you see them. We'll read them and read them and read them and never know what they are. Then you start looking at them and go, oh, the patterns are there. And I will surely do you good and make your seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. How complex do we get? How many mansions? And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea very much until he left numbering, for it was without number. So that one sounds like a different usage of it as well. But every one of those are there. Now, I want to show you something else. If we get up here to where... Well, actually, let me stop for a second and talk. Okay, so all the stories are holding a point where you see creation, you see something happening, people being placed, people being put in a land, famine, something like that. Right in the beginning, Cain and Abel. What happens? God disappears and doesn't return till it's time for destruction. We would see the same thing in the Enuma Elish. What happens? He doesn't disappear, but he gets trapped away by all the corruption, and then is set free only after the called hero comes back and destroys the corruption. Okay, so what in both cases what we have is this understanding that we are born and we exist from a higher awareness, except that we don't have any brain capacity to grasp that. That the first thing we have to do is develop our brain, and that's going to happen from wherever you come from. It's going to come. You're going to develop it through your life experiences and your judgments of those, and it's going to get very complicated. And that as we do that, we begin to live through those experiences. We lose the connection to the higher awareness, although we were never really aware of it. You're just a happy kid living through non-judged life. Once you start judging life, you start shifting gradually from the happiness. Now, this comes up once in a while. But as life goes on, that accumulates until we're living in this swimming mass of memories and experiences in our mind. And that's what all of those things are up there. But what happens when it's time to go on to the inner path is that we reconnect with that higher awareness. The higher awareness is a part of our mentality that exists outside of the emotion state, that you can get there by just looking at yourself. You can feel the emotions, or you can look at yourself from outside. Those are the two states right there. We experience it, that night, all that waking up in the morning and that mental turmoil going on, that third voice coming in, telling you to be at peace. It's almost like it's trying to reach in. When God returns, that's what that signifies. The reconnection of us, our consciousness, with the higher awareness. So it's gone for that entire time. So God gets us started, we get set up, God disappears, and returns when? When it's time for destruction. When it's time to make changes. That's when God comes back. Now, when we get to Abram and Abraham, that's hard to see. but I'm going to show you it's there. All right, chapter 12 is where the religion begins. This is the calling of Abram and Sarai. This is where it really starts. And when we get down here, we just had this. And the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, unto your seed I will give this land. And there he built an altar to the Lord who appeared to him. So on the human life template, this represents us starting out again in life. We are Abram and Sarai starting out pure. There's a famine. There's nothing to eat. That's like a naked, unashamed in the Garden of Eden. But then you're tempted to eat. You have to go. But right down here, what we see in 8, which is a bad thing, isn't it? And he removed from himself to a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent. This is the Lord appeared to Abram and said, unto your seed I will give this land, and there he built an altar to the Lord who appeared before him. That's the last time the Lord talks to Abram for a long time. And right here you have verse 8, he built an altar to the Lord, but the Lord wasn't there. What I want to do now is jump down to where the calling occurs, the actual calling begins. And what we have is right down here, it's in chapter 17, so it's a good thing. We have Abram. The Lord appeared to Abram and said to him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be perfect. And I'll make a covenant between you. This is us reconnecting with our higher awareness. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him. Now, all the way throughout here, though, you can see the Lord in there, but it's the angel of the Lord, vision, dream, something like that. If you read through there, you don't catch it right off the bat, but if you're careful, what you will notice is that in that entire time, from the time he disappears to the time he comes back and appears and calls Abram and turns him into Abraham. This is us going from our early self to our now, I'm going to go turn inward. Ham was going to be the father of Canaan. Remember that? So we've just became Abram and Abraham, both together. Combined right there is Abraham. And at that signifies the time where you go, that's it. I'm going, turning inward. This is when it becomes the eternal Tao. This is when it becomes yours, when you say, that's it. I'm going to do what I see a pathway here. I'm going to take that path. But it's a hard mental path. Okay, so all throughout, though, you'll see that the story makes it sound as though, if you're not careful, like the Lord is always there. But the Lord is never in the physical presence again of Abraham until that calling. All the rest of it's just messages coming in and out, or things happening, or something like that. So it's very clever, but if you look through there, you'll begin to notice things like that. I know, because I go to look for it, and I go, how come, if God disappears, when does he reappear? And then you look and see, okay, he reappears down here at the calling. That's when, so Abram and Sarai, all the way up to them, is a life cycle. And Sodom is like destroying the earth, destroying the city. It's cycling in there. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. I hope that's helpful if people are exploring or looking at it on your own in the way that I'm trying to understand it here. It's a tough thing to do. It's objective. It's weird to us. I think it was very normal to them, and anyway. That's it. Hope it helps you on your searches. Take care.